Everybody knows that James Harden is the most prolific scorer in the NBA.
Harden drills a three.
But different scorers thrive in different ways and in different places. Let's take a look at which players dominate which zones. We're going to identify the leading scorer in each zone, the most efficient shooter in each zone, and the least efficient shooter in each zone. The answers might surprise you. Let's dive in. Near the hoop.
That's a bad shot.
The league's analytical revolution has changed a lot, but no shot on the floor is decreasing in popularity as fast as two-point jumpers along the baselines. But somebody forgot to tell LaMarcus Aldridge, who is not only the league's leading scorer in this area, he's also the league's most efficient shooter here. Aldridge has mastered the ability to turn a back-to-the-basket post-up into a clean look for the Spurs. His fadeaway is as pretty as it is effective, and Aldridge's ability to shoot over either shoulder keeps his defenders off balance. Just look at this.
Aldridge catches it deep, little turnaround jumper is good.
Who's the least efficient shooter from this area? The answer will surprise you. It's LeBron James. James may win his 5th MVP this year, but it won't be because of his mid-range efficiency, and it's largely due to the degree of difficulty of these shots, as he often finds himself falling away from the basket. These fadeaways represent a very rare weakness for one of the most complete basketball players in NBA history. The elbows are the land of pull-up jump shots, and all of the most noteworthy guys in this left side elbow zone are point guards. A lot of people like to poke fun at Russell Westbrook's shooting numbers, but if there's one spot on the court where he's comfortable, it's right here. Westbrook leads the NBA in scoring from this area thanks to his patented cotton shot. Westbrook told me that this was his favorite shot on the floor and that he and his dad named it the cotton shot because as a young player, Westbrook would hit nothing but net from here on the playground. But nobody in the world is more accurate from the elbows than Chris Paul. While average jump shooters hit elbow jumpers around 40% of the time, CP3 sinks them well over half the time. These numbers are ridiculous and reveal just how special Paul is in the mid-range. The only players in recent history with similar numbers here are Nash and Dirk, and that's pretty good company.
This is Chris Paul to the Chris Pauliest he can be.
Meanwhile, Ricky Rubio is the least efficient shooter from here. 9 years into a nice NBA career, Rubio is still haunted by his mediocre jumper. Chris Paul must have taught OKC teammate Dennis Schroeder a few things because Schroeder is having by far his best year as a scorer. He's become the league's most prolific scorer in this area here. And like Paul, most of his mid-range buckets come off the bounce. Not only does he lead the league in buckets up here, he's made 52% of his attempts from this zone before the stoppage. One of the only guys more accurate than Schroeder in this area is the great Kawhi Leonard. When he entered the league in 2012, Leonard had the reputation of a bad shooter. But 8 years later, he's not only shed that label completely, he's now respected as one of the best two-point jump shooters in the league.
Beautiful step-back jumper by Kawhi Leonard.
Meanwhile, Philly's Joel Embiid is arguably the league's worst volume shooter from this zone. Between his pull-ups and his catch-and-shoot tries here, Embiid sinks only 30.4% of his shots in here. Yuck! Let's swing over to the right elbow now, and once again we see Chris Paul putting up freakish numbers. Paul not only ranks first in the NBA in points scored here, but of the 20 players that have tried at least 50 shots from this zone this year, he ranks second in efficiency.
CP3 goes right to his favorite spot.
The only guy better than him? CJ McCollum, whose mid-range game helped propel the Blazers past the Nuggets in a huge Game 7 road win in last year's playoffs.
McCollum throws it up off the glass and banks it home. He's unstoppable right now.
And the worst from the right elbow among qualifying players? None other than CP3's banana boat buddy and McCollum's teammate, Carmelo Anthony. Melo's looks from this spot are usually the result of isolation plays that have fallen out of style in the modern NBA, and he hits them at less than a 30% rate. What a difference a few feet makes. As we move to the right baseline, Melo's numbers soar. The dude is hitting nearly half of his attempts over here and is the leading scorer in the NBA from this zone, despite not even playing in the first month of the 2019-20 season.
Carmelo Anthony. 17 years of that professionally.
Meanwhile, Chris Middleton has become one of the most complete jump shooters in the Eastern Conference. He's flirting with a rare 50-40-90 season. The guy can score in so many ways, from so many different places, but he really flexes his skills over here, where he's made almost 60% of his tries. That's incredible.
Chris Middleton with the jumper.
It's weird, but one of the league's other best shooters, Devin Booker, struggles from this zone. Why? Like LeBron on the other baseline, Book often takes very difficult off-the-bounce shots in this area. His 37% field goal percentage here is nothing to be ashamed of. It's actually right around the league average from this spot. But still, that number makes Booker technically the least effective volume shooter in this zone. We now move out to the NBA's trendiest real estate, the corner three. And folks, PJ Tucker is by far the most prolific shooter from this zone. Why? Well, first of all, he's a great shooter, but it doesn't hurt that he plays for Mike D'Antoni and he plays next to James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Corner threes are the most assist-dependent shot on the floor. Well over 90% of those are assisted, and Tucker's huge numbers in the corners reflect Harden and Westbrook's all-world abilities to collapse defenses and find open shooters with good passes.
PJ Tucker with the side corner three, pure.
The Pistons have had a disappointing season, but Langston Galloway has been a nice surprise, especially over in this corner where the dude is sinking a ridiculous 62% of his corner threes.
Langston Galloway from his favorite spot, that left corner, and he triples.
Meanwhile, the corner has not been kind to Taurean Prince. The Nets have relied on Prince to become a corner threat, but thus far, it has not worked out. Despite being the league's second most active shooter over here, he's also its least efficient. Buddy Hield is officially one of the best three-point scorers in the NBA, and his sweet spot is right up here, where he's tried 199 threes and converted a nice 41% of those tries. Hield has become a 20-point-per-game scorer thanks in large part to his ability to blend volume and efficiency from downtown.
Atta buddy.
But while nobody has scored as many buckets from here as Hield has, nobody has converted their shots at a higher rate than Doug McDermott. He's finding open looks in transition and in the half court, and he's knocking them down at a crazy rate.
He can really stroke it, Doug McDermott.
As good as Russell Westbrook has been from the elbow, well, that's how bad he is from this area. He's making less than 19% of his 59 shots from here.
Westbrook for three. Won't go. Rebound, George.
James Harden is the best scorer on planet Earth, and his go-to move is his step-back three. Harden leads all scorers at the top of the arc by a country mile, thanks to his ability to create his own threes at will. This area is quickly becoming the league's hot spot for step-back threes, and Harden is the master.
It's like this guy invented the move.
Oklahoma City's Danilo Gallinari has been the most accurate shooter at the top of the arc this year. He's made over half of his 148 attempts up here, but unlike Harden's tries in this zone, a vast majority of Gallo's tries in this area are the catch-and-shoot variety, often as a result of pick-and-pop plays with the point guard himself, which helps his overall efficiency numbers here. But that hasn't helped Julius Randle. Despite the fact that a vast majority of his attempts up here are catch and shoot, Randle is still just 10 of 71. Folks, that's 14%, and that's really, really bad. As we move to the right side of the arc, Harden is still the most prolific shooter, but it's the gap between him and second place that is stunning. Harden has tried 274 shots here this season. Devontae Graham ranks a distant second at just 160. However, Harden's efficiency levels in this area are a bit concerning. He's made just 32% of his tries from this zone, a big drop from the 39% he's made at the top of the arc. Nobody has been more accurate here than Washington's Isaiah Thomas, who has made over 49% of his 61 attempts from this zone. Again, that efficiency is partially thanks to many catch-and-shoot tries.
To Thomas for three. IT knocks it down.
On the flip side, Chicago's Lauri Markkanen has been the coldest shooter over here, converting just 10 of his 56 tries before the stoppage. The Bulls need him to be much better from here going forward.
That's Markkanen. That's the problem the Bulls have to deal with.
As we move to the right corner three, once again, Houston's PJ Tucker is the most active shooter in the league. However, Utah's Bojan Bogdanovic has been the league's leading scorer from this area. Why? He's slightly more efficient than Tucker on almost as many tries.
Bogey launches a three. Bang!
He's catch and shoot king, man.
But while Bogdanovic has been really good here, Dallas's Tim Hardaway Jr. has been great here. Hardaway has made 52.2% of his right corner threes this year, which ranks first among the 24 players with at least 50 tries in this zone. Who's the worst over here? Jay Crowder, who has managed to knock down only 28.9% of these juicy corner looks from the right side. Not good, Jay.
Crowder unloads a three. Oh my.
Last but not least, let's look at the fastest growing shot type in the NBA, the deep three. Two players are far and away the leading scorers from out here in deep space. First, Dame Lillard, who is 9 for 21 on these long rangers.
What? Three.
Lillard's deep numbers are nothing short of incredible. He's made an unthinkable 34% of his 243 shots between 30 and 50 feet over the past 2 seasons. Lillard is proving that deep threes are more than just gimmicks. They are future fundamentals.
They don't call you Logo Lillard for nothing.
The other most active shooter here, of course, is Trae Young, but he's made just 4 of his 20 attempts in this super deep area this season. His willingness to fire from long range has earned him comparisons to Steph Curry earlier in his career, but it's not quite accurate enough yet to strike fear into defenders from 30 feet plus. So what's the difference between a good shot and a bad shot in the NBA? That's a complicated question, but it starts with who's shooting it and where they are standing.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.